Right. You want to dominate in your D&D games, right?
Right.
Make the most of every single turn.
Yeah.
You want to unleash a storm of attacks.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
Extra Attack in D&D 5e. We'll be using this awesome article from Liter RPG Reads.
Sounds good.
Cut through all the jargon.
Yeah.
Get you those juicy strategies.
Yeah.
So when we talk about Extra Attack,
It's more than just hitting twice, right?
yeah, it's not just
It's a
about...
force multiplier.
Yeah, it's not just hitting twice. You're not just...
You're amplifying your character's potential.
It's not just a button mashing mechanic, right?
It's tactical.
You're making choices. Do you want to go full-on damage on one big enemy?
Yeah, exactly. Or spread the pain.
Or spread out your attacks?
Yeah.
That's what I love about Extra Attack.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not even just about the attacks themselves.
Right.
It's how you can combine them.
Yeah, it's all about those synergies.
With all the other cool stuff your character can do.
Yeah, exactly. It's about making those awesome combos.
You become a force of nature.
Right.
All right, but before we get too carried away,
Yeah.
we do have to
We
address...
can make sure we get the facts straight.
There are some misconceptions about Extra Attack.
Yeah.
It's not about getting, 10 attacks in a single turn.
You're not going to be a multi-attack machine.
Unless you're a very specific kind of fighter at a very high level.
Right, exactly, yeah. And you're not going to be a...
There's a big difference between
attack.
Extra Attack
Yeah.
and multi-attack.
Yeah, exactly.
Multi-attack is usually reserved for,
Monsters.
the enemies.
Your enemies, exactly.
So we're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But who gets to do this?
You've got your barbarians, your monks, your paladins.
Who gets to unleash this fury?
They're unlocking extra attack at level 5?
Okay, so those are the ones we think of.
Yeah.
The heavy hitters.
Right.
But there are a few others who get in on the action as well.
You've got your blade singer wizard.
Oh, right, yeah. Bringing that martial magic to the battle.
Yeah, they're stylish.
Exactly.
Little arcane energy there.
Precisely.
And we can't forget
And the bards.
the bards.
Yeah.
College of Swords, College of Valor.
The more martially inclined bards.
They get it at level 6 as well.
So even they can hold their own in a brawl.
Yeah.
But of course, we have the champions of Extra Attack.
The fighters.
The fighters.
They are the epitome of martial prowess.
They
Like,
take it.
They unlock extra attack at level 5.
They take it to another level.
But then they get a second one at level 11.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Hold on to your hats.
And if they reach the peak of their power,
It gets even crazier.
level 20, a third extra attack.
Wow.
4 attacks in a single turn.
Talk about a force to be reckoned with.
Incredible.
So I'm really feeling the power fantasy here.
Yeah.
But we have to understand how this actually works in battle. So we've got this image in our heads, right, of a fighter just unleashing the storm of blows.
It's like a beautiful thing.
But how does it actually work mechanically?
Yeah. It's actually pretty straightforward.
When the dice hit the table,
When you take the attack action,
what can we expect?
that's your cue.
Okay.
Instead of 1 attack roll,
Okay.
you get 2.
All right. So far, so good.
Pretty simple.
It's Extra Attack.
Exactly.
But this article does a good job of pointing out that
Yeah.
it's not about just spamming attack every single turn.
There are definitely some nuances here.
There's some nuance here.
It's specifically tied to
right.
that attack action.
Okay.
You can't just use it willy-nilly with, like, spell,
But no double fireball
even if those spells involve some kind of attack.
for double explosions.
You're not going to be chucking 2 fireballs.
Right.
Sadly not.
Right.
It's for swinging your sword,
Okay.
firing your bow,
Gotcha.
making those unarmed strikes.
So it's really that attack action. Okay.
You can't use it with bonus actions or reactions.
That's
There's separate mechanics.
Gotcha. So it's powerful, but there are limits.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. This
Yeah.
might have some people wondering
Yeah,
about multi-classing.
right.
Like, let's say I'm dabbling in fighter and ranger.
Yeah.
Do I get to, like, stack those extra attacks?
A question that any strategically minded adventurer would ask.
Yeah. And double dip?
Unfortunately, no, extra attack does not stack across classes.
Okay.
You just gain the benefit based on your level in any class that grants it.
So specialize is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Don't try to become some sort of multi-attack Frankenstein.
Become the best at what you do.
Okay.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The article talks about
Yeah.
how extra attack interacts with other things,
Right.
other actions and abilities.
Okay.
So, for example, you take the fighter's action surge.
Oh, yeah. Action surge.
That's like a burst of energy, right?
I love action surge.
Lets you do even more.
Yeah.
And guess what?
What? You can take another attack action.
Oh, wow.
So picture this. You're a high-level fighter with multiple extra attacks already.
Oh my goodness.
Action surge kicks in.
This is getting ridiculous.
And you just unleash this ridiculous number of attacks.
That's amazing.
It's a beautiful sight to behold.
It is glorious.
But as you were saying, not everything works with extra attack.
Right.
A good example is the Warlock's Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
It's a ranged attack, sure.
Right.
But it uses cast a spell.
Yeah.
It doesn't use the attack action.
Not the attack action.
So no matter how many beams
Okay.
your Warlock is shooting,
Right.
that's not extra attack.
It's not from extra attack.
Exactly.
Okay.
This really highlights the importance of knowing your rules.
Yeah.
But let's get to what everyone really wants to talk about here.
Right.
Strategy.
Okay.
Having extra attack is one thing.
Right.
Knowing how to use it,
Okay.
that's the key.
So the torches are flickering. The baddies are closing in.
How do I make these extra attacks really count?
Well, this is where tactical thinking comes in.
Okay.
Let's say you're facing a big bad boss.
One big enemy.
A single powerful enemy.
Yep.
What's your instinct?
Probably try to take them down as quickly as possible.
You focus all your attacks.
Yeah.
You end the fight before it even begins, right?
Makes sense.
But what about when you're facing a horde of weaker enemies?
Okay, yeah, that's different.
Your goblins, your kobolds.
Yeah, you might want to spread out those attacks a little bit.
Maybe spreading the attacks is the smarter play.
Yeah.
Each individual attack might not be as powerful,
Okay.
but eliminating multiple targets.
Right, crowd control.
That's crucial,
I like it.
especially for crowd control.
This does remind me, though, we were talking about
Yes.
synergies with other class features.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is where things get really exciting.
This is where it gets fun.
Yeah.
Let's take barbarians, for example.
Okay.
They've got their rage ability,
Okay.
gives them bonus damage on their melee attacks. Right.
Now combine that with extra attack.
They're a whirlwind of just
Suddenly they're just this engine of destruction.
pure rage.
Those extra attacks aren't just extra hits.
Yeah.
They're extra powerful hits.
They're extra powerful.
Or think about paladins and their divine smite.
Oh, yeah.
They can expend a spell slot,
You're right.
infuse their weapon strikes with radiant damage.
So wait a minute. They could potentially divine smite
Oh,
on multiple attacks
multiple times per turn?
in the same turn.
Talk about a righteous 1-2 punch.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's just scratching the surface.
Wow.
Every class has its own set of spells and abilities that you can start weaving together.
My brain is buzzing with possibility.
Oh, yeah.
It really makes you realize how important weapon choice is when
Absolutely.
you got extra attack.
Choosing your weapon strategically makes a big difference.
If you're rolling a d12,
It does.
2 d12s are going to be better than 2 d4s.
For sure.
Most of the time.
In most cases, yes.
Yeah.
And then we think about all the spells and abilities that just enhance our attacks even further.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, the barbarian with rage, but a fighter with a flaming sword,
Absolutely.
healing that extra fire damage
It's all about stacking those advantages.
with every single attack.
Finding those combos
Yeah.
that turn your character into a legend.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the raw power of multiple attacks to the finer points of synergy and tactical thinking.
And it's those finer points that can really make the difference between a good combatant and a truly great one.
Which brings us back to the article's core message, making the most of extra attack. It's not just about swinging wildly, it's about strategy.
Exactly. This article is a fantastic deep dive into maximizing the damage potential of extra attack. It encourages us to consider weapon choices, spells, and abilities that enhance our attacks. But what if we take it a step further?
I love where you're going with this. We've talked about maximizing damage, but there's always more than one approach. What about using those extra attacks for tactical maneuvers?
Precisely. Imagine this. You're facing a heavily armored foe. Instead of just hacking away, you use one attack to try and disarm them, another to knock them off balance, creating an opening for your allies.
That's such a different way of thinking about extra attack. It's not just about dealing damage, it's about controlling the flow of battle.
Exactly. Or think about using an extra attack to shove an enemy away from a vulnerable ally or to break their grip on a hostage. The possibilities are endless.
It's like turning those extra attacks into opportunities for creative problem solving in the heat of combat.
And that's what makes D&D so captivating, isn't it? It's not just about rolling dice, it's about using your imagination, your tactical acumen, and yes, even a little bit of luck to overcome challenges.
Speaking of challenges, this article does a great job of dispelling some common misconceptions about extra attack.
Right, like the idea that you can somehow get an unlimited number of attacks. It's important to remember that most classes are limited to 1 extra attack per turn with this feature.
And even fighters, The Masters of Extra Attack are capped at 3 extra attacks at the highest level. It keeps things balanced, prevents players from turning into one-person armies.
And let's not forget about that other common confusion. Extra attack versus multi-attack. One is for players, the other is primarily for monsters.
So no combining them for ultimate attack spam. That's probably for the best, honestly.
Indeed. But it's crucial to understand the distinctions between these mechanics and to remember that there are other features, like the monk's flurry of blows or the rogue's sneak attack, that might seem similar but function differently.
Right, those abilities come with their own sets of rules and triggers. Understanding those nuances is key to maximizing your effectiveness in combat.
Ultimately, that's what this deep dive is all about, equipping you with the knowledge and insights to elevate your game.
So as you venture forth into those dungeons and face off against fearsome foes, remember the power of extra attack. Think beyond just the extra hits and consider the tactical possibilities.
How can you use those attacks to control the battlefield, to create openings for yourself and your allies, to become a true force to be reckoned with?
That's something to think about, isn't it? And we'll leave you with that thought. Until next time, happy adventuring.